Hello, my name's Sean. This video is made for MinGW, Minimalist GNU for Windows users. I'll be going over all the steps you have to complete before you begin the build environment section. Let's get started. First, let's go ahead and download some dependencies. They are MinGW, Bison, wget, and Visual C++ 2010 Express. You can get those tools from these websites: mingw.org/wiki/getting_started, sourceforge.net/project/GNUWin32/files, and microsoft.com/visualstudios/en-tac/products/2010-tac editions/visual-tac-cpp-tac-express. Now I'm going to go ahead and assume that you installed C++, Bison, and wget with the default options. With MinGW, you're going to want to look for the words Graphical User Interface Installer on this page, and then click the very next link. From there, you're going to want to get the most recent version, and the second link on the page that follows. When you install the package, you want to be careful to make sure that you install all the compilers and the MSys basic system. I'll go ahead and show you how to do that. To install all the compilers, make sure that this box is checked. And to install the MSys basic system, make sure that this box is checked. Make sure that the last box remains unchecked. I've already installed this package. Let's go ahead and load up an MSys shell. This is the directory I installed MinGW to. The MSys shell is in the directory MSys 1.0, and it's called msys.bat. Except, we'll actually want to run that as an administrator first. Excuse me just a second while I type in my password. Now, I'm going to want to access some stuff in my file system. MSys can actually only access stuff inside the MSys directory. And to make matters worse, its mount utility, which can access stuff outside in my regular file system, doesn't like spaces. So first we're going to make a mount point using an old MS-DOS trick. I just made my mount point inside my MSys directory. ~1 is actually the short name of my program files folder. I'm using it because it doesn't contain a space. And here's a quick explanation of the rest of what I just did. Cat takes standard input and feeds it to standard output. The two greater than symbols append standard output to a file. The file I'm appending to is called File System Tab, or fstab as I like to call it. The two less than symbols start what's called a HereDoc block, which feeds everything I type in afterward into standard input until I type in a delimiter. And with EOF I picked the delimiter. It can be anything, but lots of people use EOF, which stands for End of File. Another common one is EIO, or End Input Output. So now that the File System tab knows about my mount point and what to mount there, let's go ahead and mount it. And let's run a quick check to see that that worked. Great. Now we can set up our path. First though, our Visual C++ path is still really long and has lots of spaces. Let's make a symbolic link to fix that, although technically we're not really making a symbolic link. MSys actually just makes a directory and copies files in. Now let's add in the wget and bison tools we installed, as well as our visual C++ linker, to our path so we have access to them from the msys command line. Okay, there's one more dependency we can grab before we get started. That's called bzip2, and we can use a tool called MinGW-get to get it. Our last dependency is going to require us to build a program from source, and I like doing that as an ordinary user. So let's log in as one. But before we do, let's save our path so we don't have to type it in again. Now, as you can see, when I don't surround the delimiter with quotes, rather than passing this in literally, it went ahead and expanded that for me. Let's go ahead and log in as an ordinary user now. Great, our path copied over. I copied a script in earlier from the CLFS book that will tell us if our environment's ready. Let's see how close we are. Okay, looks like I've got some stuff missing. First and foremost, there's this program called tick. Now tick is tricky. The bad news is that there aren't any precompiled binaries out there. The good news is that we can build it from source. Building from source is something that we're going to need to be able to do anyway, so this is a good check. We have most of what we need to build programs right now, but as you can see, our linker doesn't work. That's because VC++ has some environment configuration it needs. Fortunately, there's a tool that takes care of that automatically, and it's on our path already. It just needs to be run from a command shell, so we'll go ahead and drop down to one. Alright, if we spawn another msys shell from here, our environment will get copied over again. Great, our linker's working and we can build programs from source now. When we come back, we'll build the tick program from source.